Hi, this is Brett Ingram, entrepreneur and award-winning product creator, and today I want to share with you how to 3x or more your sales using sales funnels. So what exactly is a sales funnel and how can we use it to increase our sales? Well, if we think about a traditional online sales process and we think about a traditional product listing or an offer on a website, what normally we see is, if you think in terms of maybe a storefront or a digital shopping cart or something like that, what you normally see is you see a product and you click on it, you add it to the cart, you check out, and you're basically done. So there's basically a listing that tells you what you're going to get with the product, and you can either buy it or not buy it. There might be a special or a sale. There'll be some information about the product, and it's typically sort of a one and done kind of deal. So you can add more and more items to your cart if the store or if the business or website that you're shopping on has multiple things, like Amazon or maybe your favorite clothing store, toy store, something like that. But each individual sale, the only thing that they would potentially offer you is maybe an extended warranty or a support contract or something like that when you get it into the cart. Like, you've probably bought something, especially if it was an electronic component, like a computer or something like that, or a camera, where when you go to check out, it asks you if you want to buy the extended warranty for a little bit of extra money. So that's sort of a weak or simple little upsell, but that's the normal way that a traditional sales process works in the online world. And it's what most of us are used to. It might show some recommended products and things like that to you when you check out. And you might even get follow-up emails with other things that you might want to buy because people that purchased what you purchased also bought these kinds of things. Those are all very useful. And if you have the ability to do that with whatever you're selling, certainly it's worth doing. But a sales funnel is a slightly different thing. And it's super powerful when it's used right. So basically, the way that it works is, if you think of a funnel as though you were going to pour something into it, basically the top of the funnel, the wide part of the funnel, is your initial sense of leads, right? So all the leads, all the front end buyers, the people that want to buy something, are all at the top of the funnel. And as the funnel goes down and gets smaller, they're higher and higher ticket purchases. And by the time you get to the bottom, you have a much smaller customer base, but they're buying a more expensive product. And so the way the funnel works, and the reason it's called that, is because it funnels people through a sales process. The irony is, when somebody makes a purchase, do you know when they're more likely to make a second purchase from you? It's actually instantly. It seems counterintuitive. It seems as though if somebody just bought from you, you'd want to let them cool off for a while. They just spent money with you. So you don't want to offer them anything else for a while. And, maybe follow up in a week or 2 weeks or a month, and hopefully you can get them to purchase something else. Actually, statistics show it's the opposite. The longer that you wait, the less likely somebody's going to buy again. The best time to actually get them to purchase again is when they're in the buying cycle. So instantly. And that's exactly how a sales funnel works. So what you're basically going to do is, instead of showing them one product, letting them add that to the cart and then be off with it, and then hopefully maybe follow up with them later, what we're going to do instead is we're actually going to show them, before they even get to the place where they get their receipt, or the place where they get their download if it's a digital product, or the place where they get access to whatever membership or whatever it is. Before they get any of that stuff, we're going to instantly show them another offer. So they're going to check out, they're going to click the buy button, they're going to put in all their payment information, click the buy button, and it's immediately going to go to a second page that says something to the effect of, hey, congratulations, right? You made a great decision purchasing X, Y, or Z. Before you get to the members area, before you go to your download page, before you get access, right? Or the team is setting up your account, while we do that, I have something really special I want to share with you. and we give a second offer right off the bat. And if it's done right and it's done in a way that is subtle, so it's not offensive or anything, people are very open to this. People are very comfortable with it. It's become commonplace because people recognize, businesses recognize the value and how much more you can make by doing this. And so a funnel, by the way, doesn't need to just be one upsell. It can be multiple upsells. So I've had funnels and I've seen funnels with 5 or 6 consecutive offers before the person gets to the members area. And you might think again, isn't that going to annoy people? Again, it's all about the way that you do it. If you do it the right way, and if the offers are structured in a way that they make sense and they're congruent with the basic offer, people will be okay with it. If they buy a pair of shoes from you and then you're offering them a refrigerator, they might get a little bit upset because it seems like you're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what'll stick. So if we put this into real world examples and we start talking about how does this actually work though? The theory might sound okay, but does this really work? Well, I've been using sales funnels now for well over 10 years. Certainly didn't invent the topic or the idea, but I saw other people using it and I saw the power of it and I started to use it. And as it worked for me, I expanded on it as well and did exactly the same thing. So just to share 2 recent products that I use this with. And again, I've used it with a lot more and had even greater successes, but 2 recent ones that I've done. There was a product called Wave AI, which was a software app that allowed people to create content using AI. And the funnel on that did 147% more sales. So if we're talking about round numbers, we'll do a couple examples in a minute. I had another product that was basically a way to develop online courses. It was called eLearn Empire. And that funnel did 166% more sales than the front end product alone. So if we think about that in terms of dollars, maybe the percentages are a little bit hard to grasp or to figure out exactly what we're talking about. Let's just say for round numbers, you did $10,000 in sales on a front end product, on your main product. If you had a funnel behind it that did 147%, it means you did an extra $14,700, which means instead of making $10,000, you made $24,700. If you had a $10,000 product or $10,000 in sales and you did 166%, you've done an extra $16,600 or now $26,000 instead of 10. So if you think about that in terms of real world dollars and the impact that that has, think about the impact that that has on your bottom line profit, your bottom line sales, right? Those are astounding numbers because it unlocks a whole nother level of things for you. And I'll get to that in a second. Now, I've done funnels just so, we're totally clear on this. Those 2 funnels were actually really modest. I've done funnels that have generated 300%, 400% or more. I mean, just multiplied the sales 4 or 5 times by using funnels. And so it's a super powerful concept. And again, it's not new necessarily, but it's something that every business should be using and be finding a way to use. And we'll get into that in a second. But if you've ever heard of the company ClickFunnels, basically it's a website designer that designs funnels. And one of the founders is this guy, Russell Brunson. And Russell Brunson, when he was trying to get ClickFunnels off the ground, he said, geez, I've got this great product and it builds these sales funnels, but he wasn't the first player on the market. There were other web page builders and other funnel builders out there. They weren't coined that way. They weren't marketed as funnel builders. They were marketed as website builders, but nonetheless, he tried various things. And every single thing he tried, he had a hard time scaling it. He could make some sales, but he couldn't get it to a point where it could grow fast enough, where he could invest enough into it without needing to get outside funding and all these other kinds of things. And he didn't want to go that route. He wanted to be able to build it organically using funnels. And what he was able to do is he was actually able to build it to $200 million company using just sales funnels. He basically worked on the funnel and kept optimizing the funnel until he got to a point where he had one that was a net positive. So what he was doing was he tried various offers, he tried various layers, he tried various pitches, and he tweaked and honed the funnel. And he got it to a point where normally if you use paid ads for any kind of a product or service that you're selling, the problem that you have is unless you have a deep budget, you can only scale so much because oftentimes there's float. When you spend money on an ad, very rarely, if you're using online ads, do you get your return on investment on the front end sales. Very rarely does that happen. If you're in that situation, pat yourself on the back because that's an absolute home run and you should be scaling it as large as you can. For 99% of the businesses and companies out there, if they're running ads, if they're using paid ads, they aren't able to generate a profit off the front end. So think about this for a minute. If you're only selling products on the front end and then you're mailing follow-ups to people later, you're going to need a lot of float because you're going to be spending a lot of money on ads to drive that traffic. You're not going to be covering your expenses and you're not going to be covering them for months down the road. With a funnel, because people are instantly seeing those other offers, if you have a funnel that's profitable and you've now doubled or tripled what you're making, maybe you went from losing money on your ads to actually making money on your ads, getting paid to run ads because you're making enough profit per funnel sale that it's actually covering the whole cost of your ads instantly instead of waiting 30, 60, 90, 180 days where you need all this capital to float. So Russell tells a story where he actually called a meeting with a venture capital firm and when he wanted to scale ClickFunnels. And I don't know whether when he initially did this, he thought maybe he'd use them or not, or if he just did it sort of to stick it to him. But basically he had the meeting, and one of the questions that a VC firm will always ask is, well, what is your average cost per customer? Like, what does it cost you to get a new customer? And he said it was something to the effect of like -$9. And the guy looked at him with a quizzical look and he said, wait a minute. So you're saying you make $9 for every new customer you get? He said, yeah. And the guy looked at him and said, well, what do you need us for? And he looked back at him and said, I don't. I mean, if you can generate a positive cash flow running ads and scaling ads because you have a funnel, that's how powerful that concept is. If you're just selling one-off products, it's going to be really hard to compete unless you have a really deep budget for financing. And then you just got to hope that you're able to convert those into higher sales down the road. If you use a funnel, you get real-time information because you're making those sales in real time, you're making those upsells in real time. And so basically what's happening is you can tweak and optimize just the way he did. His first shot out of the gate didn't work. Neither did the second, third, fourth, or fifth. But he knew it was worth hundreds of millions of dollars if he could get the one funnel that would work where he could scale it using ads. It's exactly what he did, built it to $200 million without any outside financing and without giving away a percentage of the firm. That is super powerful. I mean, that is worth listening to over and over and over again. That's how powerful that is. Because if you can turn ads from a cost into a profit using the funnels, then you have an absolute home run. So let's talk for a second about why this works. Why does a sales funnel work? Well, basically the way that it works and the reason that it works is because what's happening is you have a lot of customers and prospects that are interested in what you have to offer. But let's say that you have, and we'll just stick with a digital product to make it simple. This will work, by the way, with any kind of products. If you have a sporting goods store, you can still find a way to build a funnel. We'll talk about that in a second. But basically, let's just say that it's a piece of software, right? That we're selling, some kind of a digital product or a course. What happens is if I want to sell a course and I think it's worth $500 and I price it at $497 and I put it out there, some people will buy it. Some people will see it and they'll say, okay, this looks like exactly what I need. It's worth, what they're asking for, and I'm going to take the plunge and I'm going to do it. A lot more people are going to be interested, but they're never going to take the plunge. Either the price is too high, the risk is too much, they're nervous it's not going to work for them, they can't afford it, any of those kinds of things. So the price is actually going to be a deterrent. They don't want to invest that much and hope that it works. So when we convert that to a funnel, instead of a $500 product, what we do instead is we have a $27 front end which is a basic course. And then we have an upsell for $67 that gives you the templates for what you need to do the things in the course. And then we have a $97 upsell that gives you done for you versions of some of the things in the course. So more and more of the work is being done. What happens is, and on and on and on, by the way, you can scale this. You can add an agency level where people can provide the service or do this for other people. You can add other add-ons where you give them like a website builder or this or that with it. And all these other options in terms of upsells, in terms of the funnel. But the point is, what happens then instead is when people stumble on your product or your page, they see an offer for $27 for this really attractive course. Well, now, if I don't have to decide between, to spend $500 on your course and I can get it for $27, I'm going to be a lot more apt to do it because that's throwaway money, right? I mean, that's a pizza. It's not, you can't even eat out for $27 anymore. So it's far less of a commitment from somebody that you're asking. It's far less of a heavy lift to get them to take the plunge to actually buy that from you. And once they've bought it, the psychology says that at that point, they made a small commitment. They call it a micro commitment. So what happens now is when you show them another offer instantly, that also seems like a smaller dollar value. Well, it's $67. But look, I can go through this course and I can learn it all myself, but they're telling me for $67, they're going to give me the templates, so I'm going to be able to do this stuff. So if I do that, that's going to save me a lot more time. All right, I'll buy that one too. And then they see the $97. Well, some people are going to say, you know what? I only want the front end course. I don't have the money, or I'm not going to invest in all these other things. Some people will buy the front end and then they'll buy the first upsell. They'll buy the templates. And then they see the done for you and they're like, well, I'm not afraid to do the work and I really don't want to spend another $97. So I'm just going to buy these two. Both of those sales, the $27 sale and the $27 plus $67, are sales that you would have lost if you only had the $497 option up front. So you may not ultimately be selling it for any higher of a price. You're just breaking it into pieces that make logical sense. Now understand, and this is a really important distinction, we're not talking about leaving things out of a product and selling it. It's not about scamming people or tricking them into buying something. You give them legitimate value. You just take some of the extras. You take some of the things that aren't necessarily required for it, that are upgrades, and you break those into upgrades instead. So you give them the basic, course or whatever it is, right? And then you give them all the other things as optional things that they can buy on top of it. And you show them those pages one after another after another. In terms of the software to make this happen, any funnel builder has the technology to automatically show one offer than the next. So that's not an issue. It's just understanding how to actually set that up. So that's why it works, because now you're able to get a lot more people into the funnel at that price point, and then they can self-select what level that they want to buy in at. Some are going to buy the entire funnel. They're going to buy the entire $497 worth of stuff and every upsell that you offer. Others are only going to buy the front end. Most are going to buy the front end and one or two of the upsells. So the net effect is, instead of 500 or 0 from every single customer, now you're getting 27, 94, 191, 497. So you're getting all of these sales. You're getting a lot more customers into your customer base, and you're getting a lot more people into your products and services to build your brand and get them excited about what you have to offer. It also is going to show you, if you pay attention to it, what of your offers make a lot of sense and what don't. Because if you're finding that everyone's buying the first upsell and everyone's buying the third upsell, but no one's buying the second one, then you know that that step in your funnel needs to be tweaked. Either the price is too high or wrong, or the offer just isn't attractive enough for people to want to spend extra money to get what you're offering. So you can tweak it and test it and do all that, just like Russell did, just like I've done with my funnels, to be able to build them in a way that they're really going to work. So the way you set it up is you basically take a look at what it is that you want to offer. And if you only have the front end product right now and it's a small amount and that's what you're selling, that's okay too. But then you want to start to ask yourself, what is the next logical thing someone would need if they bought this? in order to use it or to get the most out of it. So if it's something digital, there's always going to be something additional, right? If it's some kind of a, lead generation thing, then maybe they need a website builder, or maybe they need a graphic design software to be able to create graphics for it or whatever. If it's physical products, maybe they bought a pair of hiking boots. Well, they might want a parka, or they might want a backpack, or they might want, and you can offer discounts, or you can offer bundle deals where each different thing, all the things that people tend to buy together are the things that you put together. So it's congruent and it makes sense, right? If somebody's buying something from you that you know that they're going to want other things after, instead of just saying, hey, maybe you wanted to get this too, or did you consider this? You can do them as instant upsells in a sales funnel setup. And it works wonders in the online world because people will see one offer, then the next, then the next. And even if they weren't planning on buying the backpack right now, if they bought the boots and they're going to go backpacking and they see this is a great backpack at a good price, they might be more inclined to buy it right now. And they'll buy it from you instead of maybe your competitor. So that is how you set it up. You think about, if it's a big product, you think about how you can break it up into logical pieces where each individual offer in the funnel has value, but that it all comes together as one big whole. And if you only have a small thing, you want to think about what the things are that could be added to that to add extra value for the customer. And then you want to add those things in as upsells. And you can start with a 2-step funnel, 3-step funnel, whatever. Test it, pay attention to your stats, and tweak as you need to in order to optimize it. But when you do that, you have the ability to scale your sales and profits in a way that now you can afford to generate and spend money on ads and other promotional things and all that other stuff to really scale your business. So the takeaway here is that sales funnels have the power to multiply sales 2 times, 3 times, even 5 times or more by getting a larger number of people to buy the front end or main product at a low price, and then instantly showing them offers to upgrade and unlock more features or benefits with upsells. Many customers will buy 1 or more upgrades, and because they can all choose the level that they each want individually, it's a win-win for them and for us too as entrepreneurs.